I am the President and Research Coordinator of Gesher Galitzia. Shalom, I'm very happy to be here. My background is that I got interested in genealogy in 2002. Actually, part of my going back to my Galician roots was thanks to Israel Pickles, who is here somewhere. Wave your hand, Israel. There he is in the back. He notified me about a group of survivors from Skalot, which was the town my grandfather was from, who were going back to make a trip to commemorate where the cemetery used to be. The trip was led by Chaim Bronstein, and that's kind of how I got started researching my roots back in Eastern Europe, went to my first IAJGS conference and got involved with Gesher Galitzia. I also have Hungarian and Polish roots, but today I'm only speaking about my Galician ones. As the Talmud teaches us, I did not find the world desolate when I entered it. As my ancestors planted for me before I was born, so do I plant for those who will come after me. I like to think that's why we are here today, not just to remember and commemorate those who planted for us, but to learn how we can till the fertile fields of genealogical research and do some planting and harvesting of our own. And the special place and people we are here to honor and explore, Galitzia, Galicianers. The pronunciation is lyrical, magical, almost lilting in its sound. And yet it's gone, vanished, it doesn't exist anymore. It existed once in 1772 when the Habsburgs created it, almost out of whole cloth, a province with a special name. Officially known as the Kingdom of Galicia and Lodomeria, its imprint on the landscape of Eastern Europe no longer survives. Cartographers can superimpose Galicia's borders on 21st century maps, but that's a poor manifestation of its former grandeur. So I stand here representing an organization, Gesher Galitzia, the Bridge to Galicia, that truly believes that Galicia is still with us and is still alive. It's with us in the stories our ancestors handed down, the glorious and the wonderful, along with the unbearable and the unimaginable. It lives in the records that document the lives that they led, the children that they gave birth to who lived to be married and settled, and the children who died too young of disease or starvation. It lives in the synagogues they founded and worshipped in, and the cemeteries they are buried in, whose ruins still dot the landscape of our former towns and shtetls throughout Ukraine and Poland. It lives in the special recipes we cook at holidays, for gefilte fish, cholent, Galicianer style, but most importantly, Galicia lives in the descendants, all of us here, who transport memories of our Galicia, which is to say Jewish Galicia, to every corner of the world. For Galicia was not just a political division of the Austro-Hungarian Empire. Galicianers had distinctive Yiddish accents, styles of cooking and of prayer, and were proud of the center of Jewish culture and learning that the province would become. Today, we will learn how to bring this world alive once again through our research, because genealogists are the relentless torchbearers of history, illuminating the lessons and lives of those who came before us. And I just should say, this is a photograph of the Drohobych Gymnasium, 1936, I believe, and Bruno Schultz is in the bottom row. I think he's second from the right. And this photograph comes courtesy of David Einsiedler, who was a rabbinic scholar who conversed with people mostly via snail mail. But he's in this school photograph, and that's how I got it. But first, we're going to have a short history lesson. As Timothy Snyder writes in his review of several excellent books on Galician history entitled A Core of European Tragedy, Diversity, and Fantasy, in modern times, the Habsburg crownland of Galicia became one of the most mythicized and tragic parts of Europe. But for Empress Maria Theresa von Habsburg-Lothringen, it was an accidental acquisition. Her new formerly Polish territory, christened, which she called Auschwitz in the west, to Lvov, which she called Lemberg in its Carpathian hinterlands in the east. Her successors extended Galicia to the north, incorporating the ancient Polish capital, Krakow, in 1846. Habsburg bureaucrats and writers at first imagined Galicia to be a Garden of Eden or tabula rasa, Emperor Joseph II, Maria Theresa's son, wished in the 1780s to reform the monarchy as a whole and Enlightenment principles, and saw the newly acquired Galitzia as a good place for a trial run. Since little was known about Galitzia in Vienna, it seemed like a natural laboratory in which he could, among else, abolish serfdom, instruct peasants in farming, and end famine, and create new schools. Current Enlightenment notions of the perfectibility of man could be tested by a corps of German-speaking bureaucrats. But as Joseph soon came to realize, Galitzia was no blank slate. Galicianers had experienced centuries of decentralized Polish legal and political systems in which large number of nobles, usually identifying themselves as Poles, were accustomed to enjoying extensive rights, including that of exploiting the Polish and Ukrainian-speaking peasantry. The line between Eastern and Western Christianity ran through Galitzia, and indeed through many Galician families. Most speakers of Polish were Roman Catholic, but most speakers of Ukrainian were Uniates, Eastern Rite worshippers, whose church was subordinate to the Vatican. Perhaps most alarming of all to the Habsburgs, Galitzia was home to more Jews than the rest of the monarchy combined, almost all of them traditionally religious, and Galitzia was a center of Hasidim and accustomed to local autonomy. How well we know about the Jews' desire for autonomy. This country, Israel, was born out of a burning desire for autonomy, and the Jews of Galitzia were a proud and defiant and tenacious people. So that's where our story begins. How can we take this bureaucratic history and bring it down to the personal level? Can we ever know the true relationships between these Polish nobles and our ancestors? Who was successful in business and who was impoverished? Was your great-grandfather a teacher or rabbi or a ritual slaughterer or a scribe? Did your great-grandmother sign a complaint or a petition that was sent to officials in Vienna about an injustice in her town? Genealogy is more than names and dates on a page, and in this brief time, I will show you the traces of your relative left behind that are yours for the taking if only you know where to look. And if you are uncertain where to begin or have never before thought to go exploring or planting, never fear. Gesher Galitzia is on the prowl on your behalf. So let us embark on a glorious guided tour of Jewish Galician research. Football team, Drohobych 1930s, another shtetl, more on Drohobych, and the oil fields of Drohobych. Whether beginner or advanced, there are many online resources to discover more about the lives of your Galician ancestors. There are also documents held in Eastern European archives or in repositories here in Israel or in Salt Lake City at the Family History Library on microfilm. Not everything is online. Most people start with vital records, birth, death, and marriage, to be able to sketch out the basics of a family tree, and then we branch out to more unusual or esoteric records to enhance our knowledge about what life was like in the shtetl. I know that some of you are advanced or professional researchers while others are just getting started. So today I will provide a brief overview of some excellent internet sources and then focus specifically on the special project offered by my group, Gesher Galitzia.